This video is brought to you by my two books, Practical Music Theory for the Rock Guitarist and The Blues Guitar Bible. Want to learn about modes, harmony, scales, chord substitution and keys? Or maybe you're interested in supercharging your blues guitar rhythm and lead chops. Whatever you're interested in, I guarantee you will be hitting the fast lane to progress with either of these works. Both feature video demonstrations and tutorials, loads of tabs and jam tracks to play along with, and I promise you, everything is explained in crystal clear plain English. Check out the links in the description for more details. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. It's Tuesday today, which means we're doing a top 5 list, and as I'm beginning to always say now, you've seen the thumbnail, you've read the title, you know what we're going to be talking about. My 5 favourite rock documentary films, or rockumentaries if you prefer. There's nothing quite like it is the sitting down for an hour, maybe an hour and a half, or in the case of one of these, considerably longer, and just getting a glimpse behind the scenes of some of your favourite artists. Concert footage, maybe, interviews, just a little glimpse behind the veil and kind of seeing how the magic is created. These are the stuff of Rock Documentaries, and here are some of my favourites, starting with
The Last Waltz.
Yes, indeed, the star-studded lineup that featured in this documentary. It's basically just a gig by the band, and this was my introduction to them. I'd never heard of the band before this. Don't know how I'd missed them. It was some point in the 80s that I saw this. I remember it was I was at college, so it'll have been between 84 and 87, and I was home, I think, on the Christmas break or something. And just watching this, I knew all had been watching it at home because I didn't have a TV at college. This came on it. I remember it being late one night, and just looking at the listing in the old TV Times or whatever it was in, the listings magazine, Eric Clapton and Neil Diamond, and kind of reading the list of who's on there, and that's got to be worth a watch. Never heard of the band, stayed up late watching it, and it was just. Fortunately, I had the good sense to stick a cassette in the video recorder and press record, and watched it many times after that. Directed, of course, by Martin Scorsese, and it's chronicling the last ever concert by the band. And I did know, because I did look it up, the name of the venue, and it's completely gone. Age can be a terrible thing, can't it? But if you've never seen this, it's up there. I think people always talk about the Woodstock film, which, if I'm honest, I always found that a bit tiresome. I'd watch it when it was on periodically when I was young, but I've seen that enough times, and it's worn a bit thin. But it's, for me, this Martin Scorsese movie, The Last Waltz, I will never tire of watching it, and that's why it had to be on the list. Next,
Flight 666.
Yeah, I'm not the world's biggest Iron Maiden fan, but I did enjoy watching this. I don't mind them. I don't dislike their music, but in fact, that Iron Maiden are about as close to like proper metal as I usually get. I did have this conversation the other day with a student of mine who is a bit of a metalhead, and he disputed the fact that they are even a metal band. They're just classic rock. You decide. I don't know, but I think of them as a metal band. And I think this is about 2008 when basically Bruce, obviously the singer, he's also like a licensed airline pilot. They bought their own plane, he flew it, and they just kind of did a tour like this. All the places where it wasn't otherwise economical to go. And plenty of concert footage, plenty of backstage banter. You get the sense that this band are a family as well as a band. The sort of it's almost like watching sibling rivalry playing out when you're watching this. There's a brilliant story about how Bruce decides he's in the middle of some tour somewhere, and it's like the lengths he'll go to because he's craving an Indian meal, and you get back home and you look at the bill. And I paid $5,000 to get a curry, but it's inside that touring bubble. It feels entirely normal. Yeah, really entertaining watch. Whether or not you're into the music of Iron Maiden, I can highly recommend this one. Next,
The Wrecking Crew.
Yeah, I'm not sure this one's been on general release I'm not sure the last one has actually, but I think it probably has. But I'm not sure whether this one's been on general release in cinemas, but it's well worth catching. If you're in the UK and you've got some kind of cable or satellite thing going on, then it usually crops up on the Sky Arts channel once or twice a year. And it's just basically about the group of musicians called the Wrecking Crew. If you're not sure who they are, well, go and listen to the Mamas and the Papas, the Beach Boys, Herb Alpert and his Tijuana Brass. Loads and loads of hit records that came out of California in the 60s and 70s, and just all of the musicians. They weren't a band as in having a lineup, because there's probably about, I don't know, a couple of dozen of them, but just this loose group of musicians, Carol Kay being one of them, Tommy Tedesco, and Glenn Campbell as well. Hal Blaine, fantastic drummer. There's just this loose cooperative of musicians that always ended up playing on some of the most iconic hit records from that period. Everyone, as I say, from Frank Sinatra via the Beach Boys to the Mamas and the Papas. And again, lots of insider kind of chat about, what happened on the day that this famous song was recorded, or, how that intro to that song kind of, ended up taking shape. And, as I said at the start of the video, it's fascinating just to get a little bit of a glimpse behind the veil, and lots of interviews with surviving members. And, I just found it really interesting and entertaining, and I think it's well worth a watch, which is why it's on this list. Next.
History of the Eagles.
Yeah, I remember this one. It was about 10 years ago, maybe a little bit more, being a two-part thing. And it was, just an insight into how the Eagles started, going right back to the childhoods of Glenn Frey and Don Henley, and the sort of nascent beginnings working with Linda Ronstadt, and just how the band came together, the reason why people departed. Bernie Leadon, the original guitar player, taking a listen to the whatever the final album was he played on. Was it One of These Nights? I can't remember. But taking a listen to the mix of that album, and someone said, "What do you think?" He says, "I think I'm going surfing," and promptly left the band. Then there's the whole sort of conflict between Henley and Frey and Don Felder. I would recommend highly, as well as watching this documentary, reading the Don Felder book, Heaven and Hell, which does put a slightly different spin on some of the let's say, allegations that are made against him in this documentary. I do get the feeling it is sort of skewed a little bit against him. But then again, there's two sides to every story. I wasn't there, neither were you. So, it's watch the documentary, read the book, Heaven and Hell by Don Felder, and you kind of get more of a balanced picture. Yes, one or two people in the band, Don Henley, don't come across well, even from the documentary, I think, but it is still a fascinating watch, and highly recommended. So go and check it out. Next,
Get Back.
Yeah, this one was quite big news a few years ago. Kind of back end of, I can't remember what year it was, but I remember it was a thing that made me buy a Disney Plus subscription to watch it. About 6 hours in length, as I said, an hour or 90 minutes to watch something like this, and one of them is considerably longer. Well, this is the one. Opinion was divided on this. Some people thought it was the most boring, turgid, kind of tedious banal thing. But then again, I take the opposite view. I think, when you're hearing a song as iconic as "Get Back" evolving from its beginnings, and just hearing it taking shape, and then of course the famous footage on the Apple building rooftop in Savile Row, and and were they going to be able to do things like, will the roof take the weight, and all of these kind of considerations. I just, I was enchanted by it. I always, obviously, George Martin is well known as the Beatles producer, but Glyn Johns is quite an instrumental figure in the way that they recorded, certainly during that period. I mean, it covers the whole sort of period, the aborted attempt at creating an album at Twickenham Studios, the famous falling out between George and the rest of the band, where he quits. "See you round the clubs," the famous quote. And then the bringing him back in, and what was that other movie? I can't remember the name of it, but the movie from years ago. It's, again, "Age is a Cruel Mistress." I had this. I should have written it down on me notepad here. But there was, another movie from years ago that documented that sort of traumatic experience recording at Twickenham Studios, and I think this shows it in a little bit more of a nuanced light. And don't try and sit through all 6 hours in one go. I think a lot of the people that did give it a negative review probably tried to do that. Just a couple of hours, and then watch the next one, and then watch the next one. And to me, it was, as I say, everything I want in a rock documentary, just all wrapped up in one thing. And of course, I'm a massive Beatles fan, so that does help. So there you go, folks. Those are my favourite rock documentaries, if you will. I'm sure you've got a list of your own. Why not leave that down in the comments? But that is it for today. Hope you've enjoyed the video, and let me know what you think of my choices as well, by the way. Especially that last one. But whatever your thoughts are, whatever your own list is, leave it down in the comments. And if you've enjoyed the video, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. And why not drop me a like as well while you're at it? And don't forget the live stream every Friday, 5 PM UK time. It's just beer and chat on a Friday, really, nothing more complicated than that. It doesn't need to be. It is, however, a fantastic way to kick off the weekend. I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.